if, or the decision control statement in C language. Our objectives for this lecture is for the audience to know how to use the if-else, and the if-else-if statements in C programs. The if statement. An if statement consists of a Boolean expression followed by one or more statements. So the syntax is if, and then we have the Boolean expression enclosed in parentheses. And then optionally we can have the curly brace. So if you have a block statement, use the curly brace, but I recommend that you use the curly brace whether we have here a block statement or several statements or not. So we have the open curly brace, we have the statements, and then the closed curly braces. Closed curly brace rather. So if the Boolean expression evaluates to true, then the block of code inside the if statement will be executed. If the Boolean expression evaluates to false, then the first set of code that's supposed to be off after the end of the if statement, after the closing curly brace, will be executed. So C programming language assumes any non-zero and non-null values as true. And if it is either zero or null, then it is assumed as false value. So if we're going to illustrate the if statement in flowchart, it is something like this. We have here the Boolean expression or the test expression. So this can result to true or false. If it is true, then we have here the body of if, or these are the statements that will be executed if the condition here is true. If false, then it will just go to the statement just below the if statement. So these are the statements here. So that's the if statement. So here's a simple example. So we have here a variable, integer a is equal to 10. Then we check if the number is less than 30. So if a is lesser than 30, so what will be the result? Since a is 10, then this is evaluated as true. So if true, print the following. So it will print this. Print a is less than 30. And after that, it will print value of a is, and then the value of a. So that's the output. A is less than 30. Value of a is 10. So assuming that instead of 10, we place it 40. So what will happen with the program? So if it is 40, is a lesser than 30? So that is false because a here is already 40, for example. So it will not do this, but it will go to the statement below the if statement. So it will just do this one. Print value of a is, so it will just print value of a is 40. So again, that's in case we change the value of a to 40. So that's an example, a simple example of the if statement. We have the if-else statement. An if statement can be followed by an optional else statement, which executes when the Boolean expression is false. So the syntax here is, if we have the Boolean expression, we have the open curly brace statements if the Boolean expression is true. And then we have the closed curly brace, we have the else clause, and then open curly brace statements if false. And then we have the closed curly brace here. So this will be the syntax for the if-else statement. So the flowchart for this is something like this. So we have with the test condition, or the Boolean expression, or the Boolean condition. So if this is true, then it will execute this statement. And then after that, execute the statement below the if statement. If this is false, it will execute another set of statement, not this one. So this one, and then it executes now the statement below the if statement. So that is the flowchart for the if-else statement. So here, the local variable definitions, we have integer a is equal to 100. Is a lesser than 30? So no. So it will not do this. It will go to this part. So it says here that print A is not less than 30. And then after that, it will do this. Value of A is, so if you're going to look at the output, it says here A is not less than 30, because again this one is false, and then it will do this statement after the if statement. Value of A is 100. So that's the output of this. So what if, let's say this is 10. If this is 10, this one is true, so it will print A is less than 30. After that, it will jump to the statement below the if statement. So this is our whole if statement. This is the whole block of our if statement. So after doing this, it will go to this line and print F value of A is 10. For example, if A is equal to 10. Now we also have the if-else if statement. So it's quite similar, but here we have several conditions. So here, if you're going to look at this, if the statement condition is true, then it will do this statement. If not, then it will check for this condition. If this condition is true, then it will do this statement. If not, then it will check for this condition. If this is true, then the statement executes this statement. So if none of these conditions are true, then it will do the statement in our else block. So that's the if-else if statement. So we have here an example. So we declared local variable 40. Is A lesser than 20? So 40 is not lesser than 20, so it will not do this. Then it will proceed to this one. Is A lesser than 40? Of course, it is not lesser than 40, so it will go to the next one. Is A lesser than 60? Yes. So true. So it will print A is lesser than 60. After that, it will go to the statement below your if block. So the value of A is 40. So this will be the output. A is lesser than 60. So that's this line, and then it will go to the next line. The value of A is 40. So what if we change this one to 10? If this one is 10, once it reaches this one, is A lesser than 20? Yes. So it will print A is lesser than 20. Then it jumps to this statement. The value of A is 10. What if, let's say this is 100? Here it is false. Here it is false. Here it is false. So it goes to the else statement. Print A is from 60 and above. And then it will print the value of A is 100.